There's really no better moment than the present to take a deep breath, assess the current state of the San Francisco 49ers, and understand how they managed to avoid what could have been a total disaster as we stand on the brink of training camp, with just a day left before the intense grind of practices and media availability begins. The excitement around the team is palpable. Everyone's eager for real insight straight from the front office and coaching staff, those nuggets of truth that only come when you hear it from the source. Until then, let's dive into the big moves the 49ers have recently made, how they've reshaped their roster, and what all this means for the road ahead. One of the most compelling storylines heading into camp revolves around how the 49ers dodged a nightmare scenario that many fans feared might unfold during the offseason. The organization has been very strategic, making decisions that reflect a clear vision about the kind of team they want to be. There was a lot of speculation around the draft and free agency about which players would fit that vision, especially when it came to bolstering their defense. One name that caught the attention of many was Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, a prospect who, on paper, looked like a potential fit. His athleticism, quick first step, and ability to rush the passer made him stand out, and plenty of fans were hoping he'd be a 49ers pick. Yet, as it turns out, the front office was focused on a very specific profile for their edge rushers, someone who could set the edge and stop the run first and foremost, and Stewart just didn't check all those boxes. In the end, whether or not they had drafted him might not have made much difference, because the team's priorities were crystal clear. They weren't interested in a player who might not fit their scheme, no matter how talented he was in certain aspects. That's an important lesson for any team trying to build a cohesive roster. Fit and role matter just as much as raw ability. That said, Stewart has been causing trouble elsewhere, especially for the Bengals, who are still trying to finalize his contract. The holdup isn't about money per se, but rather some complicated guarantees and disciplinary terms. His agent reportedly wants full guarantees even in extreme scenarios, such as a severe violation like incarceration. The Bengals front office, while optimistic this won't be an issue, has made that the sticking point delaying the deal. There's talk that other things might be at play behind the scenes, but from the 49ers' perspective, this wasn't a path they wanted to go down. Turning back to the 49ers' own roster, there's a growing buzz, particularly from analysts and media outlets like ESPN, about a potential weak spot on the defensive line, specifically the defensive tackle rotation. It's been flagged as one of the thinner groups across the league heading into 2025. Some experts have pointed out that the team lost key contributors like Malik Collins and Javon Hargrave to other teams and have mainly relied on rookies and younger players to fill those gaps. The current rotation includes Alfred Collins and C.J. West, to draft picks expected to step up, and Jordan Elliott, who has shown promise but remains a rotational player. Depth-wise, players like Kevin Given, Evan Anderson, and Kalia Davis, who saw limited snaps last season, will need to earn their stripes. The team is also expected to experiment with shifting players like Euros Matas and Sam Okwanu to the interior more often to help with depth. Despite these concerns from outside observers, some fans and insiders are less worried. There's a belief that the line has flexibility, with players like Michael Williams capable of playing multiple roles along the front. Coaching changes also bring a fresh perspective, with Gus Bradley and Robert Saleh involved, plus longtime stalwart Chris Kukurik on the staff. The defensive front has a mix of experience and new ideas. Still, the fact that analysts call this the weakest defensive tackle group in the league can't be ignored. It's a challenge the team has to overcome as the grind of the season approaches. On the offensive side, the big signal from the 49ers recently was their focus on adding wide receiver depth. After releasing George Odman, likely due to injury concerns, the team opened up a roster spot and quickly invited multiple receivers for tryouts. Interestingly, they even brought in a local quarterback, Spencer Petros, probably to run routes for these receivers during their workouts. The 49ers appear to be looking for solid bodies to fill out the 90-man roster heading into camp, rather than searching for star-level talent like an Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. It's a practical approach aimed at building competition in camp and ensuring there are enough players to run drills, especially given potential holdout scenarios or injuries. Players like Jawan Jennings, for example, might face hold issues that keep them off the field temporarily. So adding receivers who know the scheme or have familiarity from previous stops is key. This move underscores how teams must constantly Balance the need for star power with the realities of roster management. It's not always about the marquee names, sometimes it's about finding reliable, versatile players who can push the starters in practice and be ready if called upon. The next couple of days will reveal how these tryouts pan out and whether any of these hopefuls stick around to make an impact. Also, fans are eager to see if Ricky Pira, who has battled injuries, will be ready to contribute this season. His return would add a significant boost, but only time will tell. Beyond all these roster machinations, there's a broader question hanging over the team with an aging core. Is this roster truly built to contend as training camp approaches? It's the most crucial moment to start piecing things together, to gel as a unit, and to iron out any kinks before the regular season kicks off. Analysts and fans alike ask, can this mix of veterans and young talent still compete at the highest level? Looking at the individual player level, some of the team's older stars continue to defy father time. George Kittle, for instance, remains one of the best tight ends in the league. Last season, at age 30, he hauled in 78 catches for over 1,100 yards and scored 8 touchdowns. His production ranked him third among tight ends in receiving yards, and his consistent All-Pro selections speak volumes about his impact. Kittle is a unique player who seems to improve with age, much like fine wine, and he's on track to break NFL records for tight ends with multiple thousand-yard seasons. Trailing only Travis Kelce in that category, fans and analysts alike expect him to raise his game again in 2025. Trent Williams is another seasoned pro who still dominates when healthy. Although he missed time last year due to injury when on the field, Williams remains one of the league's premier left tackles. His pass-blocking efficiency, allowing only 1 sack on hundreds of snaps, and maintaining a low-pressure rate, cements his status as a future Hall of Famer at 37. The expectation is that Williams will bounce back and anchor the offensive line once again, providing protection that allows the offense to operate smoothly. Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, rounds out the trio of key veterans on the team who are still performing at a high level despite being over 30. With 9 consecutive Pro Bowl selections and multiple All-Pro nods, Juszczyk has become an essential piece of the offense. His blocking and receiving skills help revive the value of the fullback position, which had seemed almost extinct in today's pass-heavy NFL, thanks to players like him and Patrick Ricard elsewhere in the league. Fullbacks are seeing a resurgence in importance. When ESPN recently released its latest NFL roster rankings, the 49ers landed impressively in the top 10, the team's tight end group, led by Kittle but also bolstered by additions like Luke Farrell and Ross Dwelley, was cited as a major strength. Farrell, a low-profile free agent signing, has yet to catch a touchdown but excels in blocking, something that fits perfectly with the team's scheme, especially in creating opportunities for the skill players to get open routes. There's speculation about whether the 49ers might pursue Noah Fant, a former Denver Bronco and Seattle Seahawk, to add more firepower at tight end, but so far, the investments made in Farrell suggest a strategic approach focused on blocking. First, that same ESPN analysis highlighted the defensive tackle rotation as the team's biggest weakness, raising questions about depth and durability. Another X factor they mention is the health of Christian McCaffrey and wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. Both players' availability and performance will heavily influence the team's ceiling this season. Aiyuk, in particular, is still recovering and might not reach full strength for several weeks, which could delay his ability to contribute consistently if both return to form. The 49ers' arsenal of playmakers will be daunting for any opponent. Otherwise, the team will likely need breakout performances from younger players like Ricky Pearsall and steady contributions from veterans like George Kittle and Jawin Jennings to stay competitive. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A wave of speculation is rippling through the NFL after whispers emerged that Brandon Aiyuk, the dynamic wide receiver from San Francisco, could be making a stunning move to New England. Though nothing is confirmed, league insiders are buzzing that the Patriots may have just found their long-awaited offensive X-factor, Aiyuk, whose future with the 49ers has been a hot topic all offseason, is reportedly frustrated with stalled contract talks and a perceived lack of recognition in a crowded San Francisco offense. With rumors of trade scenarios swirling, New England has quietly emerged as a possible and intriguing destination. Is this a calculated move by the Patriots front office, looking to finally surround their young quarterback with a legitimate weapon? Or is it simply another smoke signal in the never-ending carousel of NFL gossip? Either way, the idea has gained traction with analysts who see Aiyuk's skill set, speed, yards after catch ability, and vertical threat as a perfect fit for an offense desperate for playmakers. For Patriots fans, the mere possibility of Aiyuk donning the navy and silver brings a sense of cautious optimism. After seasons of offensive inconsistency and a rotating cast of underwhelming receivers, the addition of a player of Aiyuk's caliber would mark a dramatic shift. Some believe he could be the missing piece, the wild card that changes the dynamics of the entire AFC East. Of course, any potential move would depend on a number of factors: cap space, draft compensation, and whether the 49ers are truly willing to part ways with one of their most productive players. Yet sources close to both organizations suggest that conversations, while informal, may have already begun. It's all speculative for now, but in a league where surprises often become reality, this one feels like a possibility that can't be ignored. Brandon Aiyuk to the Patriots. For now, it's just a rumor, but one that's gaining volume with each passing day. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.